It was 8 p.m. Vine was wearing a white doctor's coat and a stethoscope on her neck. Her hair was pulled back into a ponytail. She was tired and walking through the hostel corridor when a senior male doctor bumped into her as he was heading in the opposite direction. They looked at each other in surprise, but when they saw who had bumped into, they both smiled. "Oh, Dr. Lee, I wasn't afraid and I didn't see you there." He touched his long blonde hair back, revealing his forehead. Of course, he was incredibly handsome too. "Call me Lee, no need for formalities, one." "Okay," she smiled at him. "Why are you still here? It's late, you should go home." "I'm gonna leave soon. I'm very tired. I'll drop you off. It's not safe for a beautiful girl like you to be out alone at this hour." "Mr. Lee, I'm not a timid one who is afraid of everything. I'll go alone, and don't worry, I'll take the bus home safely every day." "Bus? I thought you were from the royal family or something. I've heard rumors about your family being really wealthy." "No, Lee, I'm just a normal citizen like you. I'm not special or anything. Okay, I'm getting late, bye." She quickly said her goodbyes and left before Lee could even process what was happening, but he just smiled to himself. When Ryan came out of the hospital, she was shocked to see two girls waiting for her beside a black car. They even opened the passenger door for her. When she was furious, she approached them angrily. "I told you many times not to come to the hospital. Do you want everyone here to know that I belong to a mafia family?" "We are sorry, ma'am, but your parents went to a party and ordered us to come to pick you up directly. Please get in the car, ma'am. It's going to rain soon." "No, I'll come as usual by bus." "Ma'am, what?" They were scared by her response. "You missed the last bus, ma'am. Please adjust today and get in the car. Otherwise, your parents will scold us." Ryan sighed in anger and got into the car. 20 minutes later, Ryan stepped in her room, which is in the night. But when she turned on the tube, she stopped dead in her tracks as she saw her monster, who is her fiancé. Yes, she gets chills by saying it, because for the first time in her life, she tasted what fear was on the wedding day with him. He is none other than Kim Taehyung, whom she hates and is scared of the most. Welcome back home, Ryan. He was sitting near the desk, legs crossed, smoking. His aura was enough to scare her, but she steadily maintained her composure, refusing to let him sense that she would get chills just by seeing him. She might fear him, but she refused to appear weak in front of him, knowing that if he discovered her fear, he would dominate her even more. "What are you doing in my room? Leave." She managed to say it openly, without shutting. But he didn't give her a damn bit of attention. Instead, he smirked as he got up and walked towards her, standing just one step away from her. "That baby girl, don't you even know how to talk to your husband? You are my husband, you." Then he banged her back against the wall by pushing her shoulder, cutting off her sentence before she could complete it. "Don't dare to complete the sentence. If you dare, then I won't hesitate to bring you down and in your own home right now." She felt embarrassed as he spoke loudly, shamelessly. He saw the embarrassment on her face, which only made his mouth widen quietly. "Don't you have any shame talking like this? If talking like this is shameful, then what we will do on our wedding night?" He dragged on his cigarette and blew the smoke right in her face, making her cough. "Are you crazy? I hate the smell of smoke." "But I'm addicted, so you get used to it after wedding night," he said so simply, smirking. But she turned her face away from him, making her face disgusting. "The way you show your attitude is making me even more to me. I can't wait until our wedding, you know. Don't expect that our wedding will happen. I'll stop it anyway." He cut off her arm again, rubbing her neck and applying pressure, so she could feel the strength of his seemingly light She struggled, trying to break free. Shut up with the nonsense. How dare you speak back to the marketing? I'll marry you anyway, mark my words. She coughed in his grip, struggling to breathe, and then he suddenly released his hold on her neck. He transferred from his devilish state, smiled at her, and let her go, still smirking. She placed her hands on her heart, staring at him with a mix of fear and anger. Can't you see? I'm not willing to marry you. I don't want to marry Margaretty. Who is he then? And kills people as if it's a daily routine. Then get used to it. I'm prepared to marry me. We have 1 week left until the wedding. He said it so simply, leaving her face frozen in disbelief. I can prepare myself to marry a king like you, who can ruthlessly kill poor people. How can I marry a monster like you? How can you even kill them? Don't you feel ashamed to take a life like that? You don't have shame working as a doctor. You were born into a mafia family, not a normal one. He raised an eyebrow, mocking her. As a mafia family, you should be killing people. But instead, what you are doing, huh? By his question, she shut her mouth. You are tarnishing your family's reputation by working in a cheap hostel and living among patients, instead of behaving like the mafia princess you are born to be. But don't worry, after we marry, I won't let you continue working. When he said that, she was shocked. She loves her job as a doctor and had no desire to be mafia princess. To his words triggered her, but she couldn't show her anger, having witnessed his ruthless behavior many times before. She suppressed her emotions by closing her eyes. And she glanced away. But he reached her facial expression without showing any concern. Before he could turn around to leave, but he cut off him before some waves sent on her. He lay in clover, sniffing her intensely so closely. What are you doing? Back off! She tried to push him away, but he roared at her when he detected another man sent on her. Why is there a male sent on your desk? She flinched at his question, confused, but then remembered that she had bumped into the army, and they must have smelled his scent on her. I asked you something wrong. Will you answer me, or do I need to find it out in my own way? He gritted his teeth, his eyes blazing with intensity. She swallowed him, wanting to lie to him, knowing that if she told the truth, they might kill the lady just for touching her. It's must know someone else. Do you think I'm a fool? I know how you smell, and I know how your man smells. Now tell me who it is, or I'll destroy the hospital where you work right now. She was terrified knowing that they was capable of crying out of his throats. Please trust me, I work in a hospital, so sometimes I touch male patients too. Maybe the scent came from them? He gave her a death glare. His silence more enhancing the words, but then his phone started ringing. He clutched his fist and his eyes still fixed on her and warned. I'm not sure what you are saying, but remember this, from tomorrow, you won't even touch an old man to check his pulse. Stay away from women too. I don't like anyone touching what's mine. And from tomorrow, I'll be keeping an eye on you. He left with a serious warning, leaving her feeling relieved yet. She closed the door behind him, took a deep sigh. She kicked the table behind her in frustration, but hissed in pain as she hurt her leg. Groaning, she sat on the bed, looking at the ceiling, pressing under her feet. He came to my room without my permission when my parents weren't home, and warned me not to touch others, as if he owns me. God, how can I cancel this wedding? I regret getting tied down by my promise. I shouldn't have promised my parents that I would marry whomever they chose, just because they let me become a doctor. But I never thought they would fix my marriage with such a monster. If I marry him, my medical career as a doctor would be sacrificed due to his rules. He will also destroy me. With his power after marriage, it's better to die than to be his wife. I swear, he is already giving me shivers, dominating me. But If he becomes my husband, he will treat me like a creator. No, I can't let it happen. The next morning, Ryan walked into the hostel's playground, where she saw her friends huddled around the table engaged in a heated conversation. Hey, what's going on? Last night, a murder happened on the street. It was horrible. I saw it in the CCTV footage. Who is that killer? Who was it? It was the mafia king, Kidnapping. Such a monster. I'm wondering how a good-looking guy can be cruel. How terrible he is. I feel sad for his future wife. She will end up losing her life. As my friend was talking about him, my heart was racing. They was just wondering by hearing about him. But what about my situation? I'm his fiancé. This need to be his next friend. So, is this why he left last night after receiving a phone call? I had asked him how could he kill others so cruelly, but he just went out to kill again. 3 days later, Ryan was working when one of her friends told her that Dr. Lee was calling her. She went to see him. I heard you call me. Why? Ryan, I've wanted to tell you something for a long time, but I couldn't bring myself to do so. What was that? She was asking confused, but then he took a small box from his pocket and opened it, revealing a ring. Suddenly she understood, and he knelt down in front of her, holding out the ring. I think I'm in love with you. Please accept my proposal. Give me a chance to become your boyfriend. I'm sorry, Lee. I can't accept your proposal. She is getting tension and shocked, realizing she would be the cause of his murder. They would never let him leave. If he knew Lee had feelings for her, she was leaving immediately, but Lee kept her first, unaware of the danger that came with touching him. What's your problem to accept my love? Suddenly someone kicked him, sending him crashing to the ground and releasing Warren's fist, which left her terrified. How dare you propose to my lady? She kicked him again, started beating him. Warren didn't understand how they had arrived, having forgotten that he had told her yesterday he would keep an eye on her. She was about to stop him, but his guards blocked her up, holding up their guns without touching him. It is told him he is innocent. She screamed in fear, but they didn't listen as he continued beating Lee. He aimed Lee by the hair and slammed his head into the neck, making Lee's head bleed dangerously. Your dirty hands dare to touch my girl? He ground Lee's palm under the shoe, brushing it onto the ground. Lee screamed in terrible pain, while squeezed her eyes shut, trembling with fear, as they touched Lee in front of her. She was crying already uncontrollably, unable to bear the torture, feeling helpless as she was watching. She knew they was capable of violence, but she never expected to be this cruel. I really didn't know she was yours. Please stop. You know what you deserve for wanting my lady? This question made Warren's eyes open, and she saw the horrific scene before her. Lee couldn't even look at her, his face covered in blood, his right hand broken. Her heart stopped when they took out a knife, poised to stab. Warren pushed the curse away and rushed to him, grabbing his arm to stop him. Please stop it, he did nothing wrong. They jerked her hand away, giving a death glare. While still holding the knife, Warren panicked. He did nothing wrong. He dared to want what's mine. He really didn't know I was engaged. Not just him, but my friends don't know either. Please leave me. Why didn't you tell me? You got engaged. Warren remained silent. You didn't, because you are trying to run away from the marriage, aren't you? That's why you kept it secret? She couldn't answer him, but they were able to reach her eyes. His grip on the knife tightened, his teeth gritting in anger. You hide this because you love me, don't you? He raised the knife, ready to stab Lee in the stomach, but Ryan blocked his way, tears streaming down her face. Please stay, don't kill me. I didn't love him, I promise, trust me. She was crying uncontrollably. not to cause his death, but to save him from death. So it was then they rushed her, seeing tears in her eyes for the first time, he losing his grip on the knife. Then why didn't you tell anyone? You got engaged to me. Are you going to answer? Or should I rip his skin away from his body right now? I didn't tell them because they are all scared of you. And they didn't even know I belonged to Mafia family. If they knew, they would be terrified. How could I tell them about our engagement? Tay's expression finally softened, and he dropped the knife from his hand and cupped her face with his bloody hands. But not to wipe away her tears, his gaze looked unto hers, intense and possessive. Remember, I don't care about others. You are mine. I'll climb it at our wedding, and then the whole world will know who is going to be my wife. The voice being got it. She didn't answer, panic, but he raised a knife for impression. Then she nodded, her eyes still fixed on you. Don't you dare look at another guy. They might lose the life by chance. She flinched at his words, fixed her eyes on him. Tay, he is going to die. He is bleeding. Let's take him to. Why do you need to do that? He clenched his skirts, gestured to them, and they bowed before taking him away. Where are they taking him? You don't need to know. And go do your work. He released his grip on her cheeks, and she nodded before leaving, holding her fear inside. At night, Brian was still walking home alone after missing the bus again today. All my friends are terrified just looking at me after Tay's meetings. I don't understand. Was it my fault for being born into a mafia family? My parents even want me to marry him. Is it because he is a mafia king? But why does Tay want to marry me and he knows I don't want? She was walking home when she noticed someone had been following her for a few minutes. So she quickened her pace. Fine was flawless except when it comes to Tay. So she daringly walked home alone at night. But as she walked, she felt a sense of unease, sensing something was wrong. Maybe the creepy person is Tay's girl. Since he said he would keep an eye on me, but if he is working for Tay, but days hide whenever I try to look back at him. Just as she approached her home, a car screeched and stopped, and a masked man jumped out and grabbing her. With a hand, she punched his jaw. Of course, born into a mafia family, fighting was in her blood. So she punched his jaw without hesitation, but she was soon surrounded by a group of strong men in black masks. When they tried to retrieve her, Vine fought back with punches, but they were too strong. They tied her hands behind her back. Leave me, who are you? Struggling to free herself, but they didn't respond. Instead, they dragged her towards the car and threw her into the vehicle. Vine was holding back her tears, screaming on them, and the man didn't respond or remove the mask. Where are you taking me? Who are you? She asked, but they didn't answer as the car came in. Suddenly, a bullet tore through the window, and one of them looked out and saw something and became scared. Shit, just as we feared, he's already found us. He's chasing us. What do we do now? The man was shocked, and Warren couldn't believe that someone could instill such a fear in the strong man. Another guy spoke up from the driver's seat, speeding up the car. Guys, no matter what happened to us, she's important to our boss. Boss? Who is your boss? Who was chasing you? Guys, attack him. Just as they were about to launch an attack, their car lost balance and skidded when a big truck crashed into them from behind, sending the car spinning and landing upside down on the ground. Dust flew everywhere. Just a few seconds later, when Vine opened her eyes, she saw only two guys were conscious and alive, while the rest was injured and dead at the scene. She tried to escape, but her head is spinning because of the accident. As her hands went down, But two conscious men grabbed her and kicked open the door and started. "Let me go," she repeated. Her head spinning, but the two men didn't listen, dragging her until they suddenly stopped and released her wrist. Ryan looked at them with confusion, wondering what made them stop. Following their gaze, she looked ahead and saw a chair sitting in front of her. His legs were apart, holding an iron rod in his hand. Ryan's dizziness vanished instantly at the sight of Tay, his presence having a profound effect on her. She realized that he was the one who had bumped into the car with his truck, stopping their escape. "How dare you kidnap my girl?" He stormed towards them, grabbing her. They aimed their guns at him, but he swiftly threw the crowd at one and kicked the other, taking both them down. He didn't give them a moment to fight back. He immediately started to beat them in front of her. "You dare to touch my girl with your dirty hands?" He spoke. He twisted the guy's arm, the sound of cracking was echoing through the air. "Please stop, don't. They ignore her, please." His gaze shifting to the other guy. "Why did you plan to kidnap her?" The man remembered shaking his head and howled backward. "I can't bear the thought of your mind, even considering wanting my wine." Ryan's eyes widened in horror as Tace was angry with the death action. She tried to intervene, but Tay twisted the man's neck, ending his life. Ryan froze, her soul seeming to leave her body. She stared at the dead bodies. Tay got in bed, approached her, rolling up his sleeves. The brutality with which he had taken the lives left her comatose as he reached down to touch her cheek with his body hand, but she stepped back from him. "How could you murder them like that? Can you make a murderer kill another person in such a terrible way? Do you think I would just eat popcorn and watch like a maniac someone try to kidnap my fiancé? No way. That's why I kill them. And not just them, anyone who dares to come between us will meet the same end of us. I won't let anyone touch what's mine." That second she looked at him as if he was a creepy psycho standing right in front of her, and the way he was claiming her as his was something she couldn't accept. "Stop saying mine. No, I'm not yours. I'm not yours." She burst into tears, shaking her head. "You are a psycho who wants to marry me, baby." "Who said I love you, baby girl?" That one word made her look at him in panic. "There is no love involved in marrying you." She felt a lump in her throat as she stepped back, trying to pull her hands free from the house. But he took a few steps closer, pulled her body to his, and he ran his index finger along her jawline. "Then why you want me to marry you?" "Because you are mine. I don't just want you. I want all of you, including your son. I want you like there is no tomorrow. I must have you. I'll reject you into mine, into our dark world after our wedding. And of course, marriage is just a formality for me to have you legally. After marriage, you will take my name, become my queen. If you dare to refuse, then I'll make you my slave, my everything. You can't escape my death obsession for you, where there is no exit once you enter.